Aloha and welcome to the Embodied Healing Self podcast with your host, Jen Mons. Each week, join me for soul-inspired, conscious conversations around embodied healing and awakening to your soul's purpose. Thank you for listening in.
Aloha and welcome back to this week's episode of the Embodied Healing Self. So this week we're going to talk about intuitive energy balance. We are in the middle of a 5-day energy mastery course, which I am hosting in my Facebook group. On the first day, we talked about identifying your natural energy flow. On day 2, we discovered energy blocks. On day 3, intuitive energy balance. On day 4, we're diving into our body wisdom. And on day 5, our intuitive energy soul signature, our flow state, how to live in alignment with our values, our gifts, our talents, our natural energy signature flow. So intuitive energy balance is taking all of the things and identifying and understanding that our relationships with everything in our life is a reflection of our internal belief system and our choices. And the goal is to learn to make choices from a place of alignment and to reach the natural bliss flow state, as we talked about in episode 77 last week, around awakening to your true purpose through divine healing. When you can uncover this secret, you no longer live from a place of trying to prove anything. You no longer live in scarcity or mistrust or fear. You no longer live in anger and hate. You no longer live in fear of judgment or rejection or abandonment. You live in freedom. You live in vitality. You live in balanced well-being. You live in the flow of both your personal and professional life, as well as your connection to source, to God, to grace, your own personal growth and transformation. You welcome freedom. You welcome abundance. You welcome joy from a place of being. It becomes who you are. You begin to embody this flow state, and you start to look around and just notice that you are the presence that you desire. You are the presence that you need. You are the experience that you want to become without doing the things, but in being the experience. And there's a couple of different avenues to get here. So today we're going to talk about the physical body. We're going to talk about nourishment and energy. We're also going to talk about emotional body and emotions and relationships and exchanges of energy and subconscious patterns in the energy body. Because all of these affect your well-being. Intuitive energy balance is about staying aligned to what matters most to you and identifying, becoming aware of the triggers and the patterns without attachment and without them having any power over you. Whether it's the food you eat, the exercise you do, the people that are in your life, the money that you have or don't have, the job that you have or you don't have, the dream husband or wife that you have or you don't have, your relationship with your children, your parents, your friends. When you really uncover this alignment, which was my word for 2020, I had no idea what was going to have to happen in my life in order for me to gain clarity around what alignment meant. I just knew it was my word for 2020. If there was any year that could have been easily misaligned, it would have been this year. We've had so many distractions, so many things that have taken us out of balance and steered our course away from where we thought we were going to be. So let's talk about the physical body. Let's talk about intuitive energy balance as it relates to how we nourish ourselves. Every single opportunity to nourish ourselves comes with every meal, every day. We have to breathe, we have to eat, we have to drink, or we don't survive. I mean, I guess some people could say, yeah, okay, there's monks that can go months without eating. But for the most part, most of us here striving and thriving in this world, we're choosing to eat and to drink and to breathe every day. And every meal is an opportunity to nourish yourself. That's empowering if and when you know how to nourish yourself, both for your Ayurvedic constitution your blood type, your body type, your life experiences, your genetic predisposition, your emotional needs, all of those things matter. And what I have witnessed is that most people don't know what it's like to feel good because they've never felt good. What many of us tend to do is we do this yo-yo dieting thing. We hop on the latest trend, which, by the way, if you're wondering, I'm not a fan of paleo, keto, vegan, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's something different for everybody. And I believe that at different stages in our life, different things work for each of us. So it's not only just our unique constitution, but also where we are in our life. And the best gift, I was a health coach for 10 years, studied functional medicine, detoxification, integrative wellness through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. The best gift that we can give somebody is to teach people how to tap into their own body wisdom through intuitive nourishment. How do we do this? Well, we first want to understand what it's like to feel good. Most people think they're eating healthy, and you can eat healthy, but choosing to eat what's in alignment with your body and its needs is like next level health. So, for example, kale is a wonderful food, but it's not great for everybody, right? Some people have an adverse reaction to kale actually in their body. So this is where an intuitive nourishment program like the one I offer, which is a seasonal program on my website, you can look at the online courses. These are self-study courses, teach you how to tap into your own intuition through nourishing yourself. Super empowering, you guys. We do this by first taking the known foods that cause inflammation for most people. For most people, gluten, dairy, soy, nuts, eggs, chocolate, corn, those are common triggers for people. It doesn't mean it's an allergy, but possibly a sensitivity. And what's affecting us more is that we're eating it in a processed form. We're not even eating it in its whole form. So we're eating corn chips or processed wheat. If you're eating a source of corn or wheat that is sprouted immediately and has live active enzymes in it, it's going to be very different than if you're eating it from a processed bread that made somewhere else in the country and it was baked, who knows, a year ago. Some of those breads have like a year lifespan or more. That should be an indication right there that might not be the best food for you. You probably want your bread not to last so long because it's alive and it's fresh. But if you're buying bread that can last on the shelf for months and months at a time, might be something in there that's not really serving you. So we start out by doing that, but then we also learn and understand the importance of cyclical nourishment. This is what animals do in nature. So when it's cold out, our needs are different. We need more healthy fats and proteins, warmer foods, no matter what your Ayurvedic constitution is. When it's warm out, we can more easily eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, smoothies, and salads. So learning how to adjust your needs depending on the seasons and taking a cyclical approach to eating, an Ayurvedic approach, is also helps to meet your digestive system and your energetic constitution where it is for the season. Some of you might be new to Ayurveda and your dosha and your energetic constitution. Our energetic constitution teaches us a lot about what our cravings are and what our needs are. It also is a reflection of how our body metabolizes different types of food. So somebody who's very pitta, very fiery, isn't going to do as well with super spicy foods as somebody who's kapha, who needs a little fire. So there's 3 different types, vata, pitta, and kapha. And if you haven't learned about those, this is also part of my intuitive nourishment program, but get interested. I'm going to drop a link in the show notes on how to test for your own dosha, your Ayurvedic constitution, and start to become curious if this is new for you on how to nourish yourself. What foods work for you? What foods don't work for you? What foods give you energy? What foods deplete your energy? Here's a couple of tips to know if you're out of alignment with your body's nourishing needs. You find yourself sick all the time. If you're always getting sick, you likely have some sort of candida or acidosis or inflammation in the body that's creating a breeding ground for viruses and bacteria. You can be a carrier or a host. Many people can carry viruses without succumbing to any symptoms. Once you become a host, if you have a breeding ground for viruses and bacteria, you have a really damp environment full of inflammation, it's going to be super easy for viruses and bacteria to thrive in there. They're going to have a party, basically. You want to keep your gut bacteria in balance, your natural gut bacteria and yeast in balance, so that you are not overcome with unhealthy gut bacteria and imbalances in the gut. So you find yourself super tired all the time. You find yourself sick all the time, or sick and tired of being sick and tired. You've got nasal congestion, earaches, skin issues. The skin is the second liver, so any skin rashes, acne, cradle cap for kids, all kinds of rashes that show up, right? This is just an indication of, possibly a toxic liver. So eating foods to support the liver is going to be super helpful. Congested nose is a really big one. I often see with dairy, so it's just congestion or pus or lots of animal proteins that's just not getting digested properly. Body aches, this was mine, body aches and headaches. So for me, this is what gluten does. I've been gluten liberated for about 12 years now before it became trendy and popular. Not allergic, just sensitive. I know that it doesn't feel good for me. So what happens is when we lack the enzyme to digest the protein, then it has to go somewhere. If it's not properly assimilated and utilized and converted into something that can be used for energy in the body, sometimes it becomes a toxin in the body. And if it's a toxin, and if you have leaky gut, it can turn into a variety of things. One of the things that it can do is create inflammation that goes into the bloodstream and creates inflammation and arthritis in the body, or headaches. So you may get headaches and arthritis from foods. You may get congestion from foods. You may feel tired or low energy all the time. One that I see often is the sleepy hour after lunch. Well, it's probably maybe because you've been, I like to call it gluttonized, but glutenized with your sandwich. Maybe gluten's just not the best food for you. Maybe you realize it makes you tired. And, something else interesting that I discovered on my journey, and I have so many stories from so many people that I've worked with over the years, was there's something in gluten that triggers extremely vivid and not so great dreams when I'm sleeping. And I'll know because I never choose to eat it, but I'm not gluten intolerant if it accidentally shows up if I've gone out to eat at a restaurant. Like, that's sort of my cue that something I ate might have had gluten in it. Plus I get the headaches, menstrual cramps, and body aches for about 3 days. This is how my body responds to it. So lastly, one of the most obvious is belly bloat. Really just noticing that your belly can get super bloated when you eat foods that might not necessarily be the ones best serving you. So intuitive energy balance is about first understanding which foods work and don't work for you. So that's the food aspect of it. Learning to eat cyclically, Ayurvedically for your constitution, and really just willing to slow down and lean into the body and notice how you feel after you eat. The other part of intuitive energy balance is movement. And so finding the balance in movement that works for you. This may also change throughout your life. There may be times where you're super into boot camp mode and you want to work out and you got to break a sweat. Maybe you're into running. Maybe there's a time in your life where you're more into yoga or Pilates or a slow restorative yoga practice. Maybe for you, movement is taking the dog for a walk. Being mindful and intentional on your movement and being aware of a pattern that shows up where it's easier to work out than to eat healthy. This is one that I've, seen that comes up a lot. And, just knowing that it is possible to work out too hard and too much, especially for people with hyperthyroid. So just noticing or heart conditions or an imbalance of hormones, noticing how you feel after you work out and how your muscles feel. Do they feel supported? Do they feel energized? Do they feel like they're having the time to repair themselves? And listening to your body to be in the flow of whatever movement it is that you need at this point in your life. Next, we're going to move into relationships with people, with your work, with your beliefs, with your emotions, with money, with your friends, your children, your spouse, your partner, with anybody. This takes a little bit of a deeper willingness to really check into your body and check into the body wisdom. In order to be in a healthy place of healthy discernment on what a healthy relationship that is co-created is, you have to be willing to do some of your own personal work. You also will have more success and clarity if you feel better because you nourish yourself. Every food that you put into your body has an energetic frequency. It affects your energy field. Every emotion that you feel has a frequency. It affects your energy field. Your movement, the music you listen to, the shows you watch on TV, the movies that you watch, the news, everything that you listen to, every person that you surround yourself with has an energetic frequency that affects your energy field. And in order to be in a healthy place of understanding and discerning what is in alignment for you, this can only happen when you're grounded and solid in your own personal space. When you've been willing to do the shadow work to understand your core wounds, to recognize your limiting beliefs, your fears, and your blocks, to recognize the thought patterns that come up, the judgment, the abandonment, the rejection, the fears that come up. Recognizing those when you feel uncomfortable in your body and you want to lean out of something, and understanding, are you leaning away from it because it's uncomfortable, because it's triggering your survivor self? Or are you leaning away from it because it's out of alignment for you? What I have found is that when you're in alignment, you don't feel triggered super strongly. In other words, it's not an avoidance type of lean out, but more of just a check-in, an activation rather than a trigger. And the only way that we can really choose healthy discernment is when we're aligned ourselves, which I gotta be honest, as a person who's been devoted and committed and coached and taught several different layers of healing and coaching throughout our whole life, I don't know anybody who walks around fully aligned the whole time. What I do know is that the more aligned you are with your values and your truth, with your healthy self and not your survivor strategies, the more flow and bliss and freedom and abundance and joy you will be in your life. You won't seek it outside of yourself. You'll just see it in every part of your life. And sometimes it looks differently than what you think it was going to look like. Sometimes friendships and relationships look differently than what you think they're going to look like. It's all about tapping into your intuition and your body wisdom and really noticing what feels like it's an alignment from you from a healthy place. So a healthy place is you can only identify when you know what the survivor strategy is, when you know what the core wound is, when you can say what the emotion is that you're feeling when you get triggered, when you can identify the need underneath it and notice and observe the situation from an outside perspective. In other words, no longer being attached to the emotion, the experience, the outcome, the result, the person, or any part of it, but just witnessing it. That's coming from a healthy place. It's coming from a place of being empowered. It's staying in your intuitive energy balance by witnessing and recognizing the patterns that show up without having to immediately be reactive or respond or to take them personally or to fix. Right? This is a survivor strategy too. There are many of us who immediately jump into wanting to help others or fix others or change something. That's a survivor strategy too. And, again, just honoring and recognizing that we're all just practicing. We're practicing, we're learning, we're becoming aware and noticing our own patterns. Let's just talk about some patterns, okay? Avoidance, rejection, judgment, abandonment. We believe others reject us when really it's a reflection of our us rejecting a part of ourselves. We believe we're abandoned by God, our friends, our parents when we abandon our own truth. We judge others on things that we judge ourselves for. So every relationship, everything that the world that we see through our eyes through is really a reflection of our own inner world and our opportunities, our inner work and our shadows. So what happens when, let's just get real, what happens if you're not willing to stop the pattern, be curious about, what it is that keeps showing up, remove the blocks, kind of dissipate the energy? Well, they keep repeating themselves. Whatever the belief is, right? I've seen everything from repetitive health crises to injuries, broken bones, to bad breakup relationships, rejection from friends, to blow-ups in families, to going into debt repetitively. I've seen many, many, many repetitive patterns, losing weight and then gaining weight, having a healthy relationship with food and then self-sabotaging through binge eating, things like that. So if you start to notice and witness the unhealthy pattern that's keeping you from moving forward, that's an invitation to lean in. It's a place for curiosity. The interesting thing is sometimes the ego will come in and it will make you think that you're breaking a pattern because you'll convince yourself that you feel differently, but it's still the same pattern. So in other words, if you're a person who quits things all the time, and then finally you come to a point where you believe that you have everything you need and you no longer need to do anything anymore, so then there's never anything to quit again, it's still the same pattern. If you're a person who has been struggling with your health and wellness most of your life, if you're a person who has woken up basically through your body experience, which this is me, I can totally relate to this, having had 2 health crises. It's why I love to teach body wisdom. Then as soon as you get ready to expand and move into that next layer, because we're always learning and understanding. So first we learn to eat healthy, and then we learn our emotional empowerment and our core wounds, and then we learn healthy mindset, and then we go into the energy body. And the thing is that we're never meant to do any of this alone. Energetically, we know together we're stronger. Always. Always. When you co-create with somebody, if you have a partner, a coach, a mentor, anybody, a friend, when 2 energies come together, it's a catalyst for change. So if one of your patterns is being willing to open and receive support, to believe in yourself, your worthiness, to have the courage to invest time or money into yourself, you're going to expand and accelerate even further, because that was like something for you to break through. Your willingness to invest in yourself, whether it's to be vulnerable, it's to invest a great amount of time or money or energy. And this is a huge breakthrough. This is a lot of what has catalyzed me to get to where I am. I've spent many, many months and weeks traveling, training, studying with people around the country and other countries to get to where I am. I've had many mentors and healers. That's why I've become the teacher, right? But my willingness to have the support, the healers, the mentors, the teachers, and the training in the United Kingdom and Nicaragua and Virginia and California and all the places that I travel to, my willingness to spend time away from my family, because my love language is quality time, and to invest in myself helped me to really break through patterns of unworthiness where I really believed that all my worth was in the work that I did, what I did, not who I was. I had a long list of accreditations, right? Degrees, certificates, accreditations. I love to learn. And none of that really matters. What matters is that I show up in my authentic truth just as it does for you. Those are talents and skills, and they're super nice. They help you to live your purpose, but they don't identify who you are. And the realization and letting go of that attachment is really, really liberating. Whether it's your attachment to your role as a parent, a teacher, a coworker, being the funny one, being the hot one, being the beautiful one, whatever role, identity, or attachment that you have, even to your own calling, even to your own purpose, even to your own truth. Any attachment is an opportunity for curiosity and space. And that, my friends, is how you stay in your intuitive energy balance. By leaning in, listening in, using a practice of somatic inquiry, somatic breath work, allowing yourself to move out of the mind, move out of the heart and into the body, and allowing the messages to come from the body, from the soma wisdom, the somatic wisdom of the body. Keeping your vessel clean, your body clean with healthy foods, helps you to get super clear messages, helps to open up the different types of intuition, the clairvoyance, the clairaudience, the claircognizance, and sentience. If you can do the physical embodied healing with the spiritual growth and development, you're going to be so resilient and so in purpose. You will just feel so fulfilled, at home, at peace, and aligned. So I hope that I dropped some tips for you today. Come on over and check out jenmons.com/online courses. Check out my intuitive nourishment program. I have 3 different seasons you can join for the year at a discount. I have the body wisdom course. I have the soul wisdom course. I also have my embodied soul signature program. Lots of wonderful tools to help you discover the healing through the innate body and soul wisdom so that you can live in alignment. They're wonderful tools, life-changing. Check out the praise. Thanks for listening. I love to hear what insights you gained from the show today. So please leave a review if you feel called, or send me a message. Send me a message and let me know what you're learning as a listener on the show. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Aloha.
Hello, friends, and thank you so much for joining me today and being a part of this community. I know there are many other podcasts that you could be tuning into, and I am deeply honored that you chose to listen in and be present with me today. I love and cherish and appreciate you, and I want to invite you to join our tribe and Facebook group under jenmons.com/connect. I would also love to gift you your guide to discovering and overcoming the self-limiting beliefs standing in the way of you living in optimal health, more energy, fulfillment, and self-confidence to create an embodied, healthy, whole you. You can find this at jenmons.com/tribe. I also have one small request to help spread the love. In order for this podcast to show up in the feed of social media platforms of other like-minded people, we need reviews. So please head on over to jenmons.com/podcast to leave a review. You will also find other inspiring episodes on that page. So I personally read these reviews weekly and would love to give you a shout out and share your kind words with our listeners. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Jen Mons or The Holistic Coach with the W Holistic and Jen Mons, JenMons.com. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Aloha.